Today is a magnificent March 11th, 2021. It's about 68 degrees. We're in South Orange, New Jersey. That's train 6625 heading off to Dover. Gonna hang out here and watch a few trains and head back to Hoboken and catch some more. This magnificent structure is the Delaware, Lackawanna, and Western built South Orange Station building. This was built in 1916 on the National Register of Historic Places. Delaware, Lackawanna, and Western wanted to show themselves as a mighty railroad, and they certainly did with the structures that they built. Between the stations, towers, and the bridges, and even the catenary system on this electrified line, they definitely showed that off. And the superb architecture here at South Orange is not just confined to the train station. This is the firehouse, built by Arthur Dillon and Henry Beadle in 1926. One of the best I've ever seen. South Orange is a pleasant community. It has two train stations here. The other one is Mountain Station, just to the east. That station was built in 1915. Not a very good sun angle of this firehouse, but you can see what an archaic and elegant structure this is. We're on the Hoboken bound or New York bound platform, depending on where you're going. You can see this beautiful structure trackside with the patented legendary Lackawanna catenary poles. This was electrified in 1930, and one of the first electric trains that ran through here was piloted by none other than Thomas Edison. It's 3 tracks through here. It's 3 tracks as far as Melbourne, and it becomes 2 tracks the rest of the way to Dover. From the Hoboken bound station platform, you get a much better view of the firehouse. Right across the street. Can't forget this tower connected to the firehouse. The Delaware, Lackawanna, and Western was an impressive railroad. They had the money. In that Erie-Lackawanna merger, they were the better run company and they had the money. And they've proven it with superbly engineered structures. There aren't many stations you can see that last as long as these, and they still look good. They even have elegant light fixtures on them still. When this was electrified back in 1930, the power supply was 3,000 volts DC to accommodate those old Thomas Edison cars. But in the early 1980s, they converted this to 25,000 volts to accommodate the Arrow MU cars that began operating on this line back then. 30 some odd years later, they're still running on this line with abandon. Some variety of the Arrow MUs started going through here in 1996 when the Kearney connection was completed and you had Midtown direct service commence, trains to and from New York's Penn Station. They have electric locomotives on them. And approaching the station at 12:59 is one of those Midtown direct trains, train 6640 from Dover to Penn Station, New York. units, ALP 46A, 4659, shoving towards New York. Train 422 from Gladstone to Hoboken should be coming in a couple of minutes. You'll have Arrow MUs. At 105, here comes train 422 from Gladstone to Hoboken. You should hear him sound his WABCO AA2 horn as he approaches the platform. MUs built by GE in the 1980s. They'll be around a little while longer. New Jersey Transit is ordering double-decker MUs, which will ultimately replace those war horses. This is train 419 to Gladstone, but he has an electric locomotive on this consist. Arriving at 109. Apparently not all the Gladstone trains are MUs. You'll notice that the trains blow their horn, a long blast before they hit the platform. That's a practice that New Jersey has implemented since the late 60s. It goes back to the RFK funeral train. That train encountered some fatalities in the state of New Jersey, and ever since then, all trains approaching a station platform are required to sound the horn. South Orange Avenue, downtown South Orange. I may be wrong about this, but the tracks parallel a hilly ridge here on the north side. I believe that might be part of the Watchung Mountains. And here's another claim to fame for South Orange. There are some very nice towns on this Morris-and-Essex line. This town, other towns noteworthy: Maplewood, Milburn, Short Hills, Madison, Convent, Chatham, Morris Plains, to name a few. All right, now we're in Hoboken. Just arrived here on train 854, diesel job out of Hackettstown to Hoboken. And you can see train departure board, and it's a pretty busy place. You can see. One of the great things about Hoboken is a lot of diesel trains run out of here. Other than the Gladstone and some Montclair boom trains and Dover trains, the majority of the traffic out of here is diesel. And this is inside the depot building of Hoboken Terminal. Beautiful structure. The station was built on the Lackawanna Railroad in 1907. Pretty much exclusively a Lackawanna Railroad property until 1956, when the Erie Railroad started running their trains in here from Jersey City. You could catch trains out of here, Buffalo, Chicago, Ohio points. You had trains like the Lake Cities, the Phoebe Snow, the Owl coming out of here. Lasted into the Erie-Lackawanna era. That was in 1960. The last passenger train for Chicago left here in January of 1970. Today it's exclusive property of New Jersey Transit. A lot of PL42s here right now. Got one GP40 FH2 in the middle of 4904. That's the French onion soup engine with a weak horn. That's the engine that I saw French onion soup for the very first time on this run on train 49 to Middletown back in late September. Equipment going in the yard with an F40 PH3C at 221. And there's Ben there, getting ready to take 49 out of here at 241. Brake test. They're ready to pull out in about 8 minutes. French onion soup. This is train 423 to Gladstone. He leaves at 240. 49 leaves at 241. That's 423 for Gladstone out of 240. He's off to Middletown. Train 49 stops at Secaucus, Ramsey Route 17, Suffern, all stops. That was French onion soup piloting the train. He'll be back later. And departing at 2:58 is train 1653 for Newbridge Landing. We got a Jeep in the background. We got an equipment move coming into the station with an F40 3C. Hoboken Terminal provides some stunning views of the Manhattan skyline. You're looking at the Freedom Tower, dead center. Those pieces of wood sticking up, those used to be piers that housed railroad tracks at one time. Used to unload freight onto boats here. Yeah, it's a beautiful day here for a March 11th. Feels more like May. It's about 70 degrees here. This whole area has really been rejuvenated. Built a lot of buildings and residences. This area here to the south is Jersey City, and this, of course, is Hoboken. As you can see, it has a nice waterfront promenade bordering the Hudson Bergen Light Rail Station. They have trains going out of here to West End Avenue, connections for Bayonne, and Tonnelle Avenue on the other side of Union City. The light rail reached here in 2002. Here comes an articulated light rail set coming from Tonnelle Avenue. It goes underneath Bergen Hill, Union City. The station serves two lines. One goes to Tonnelle Avenue on the other side of Union City, and the other one goes down to West End Avenue in Jersey City. The third line runs from Tonnelle Avenue to West 8th Street in Bayonne. And he's off to Tonnelle Avenue. There's a train departing from Bernardsville on the Gladstone branch. Just take a look at this display and you'll see why rail fans love to come to this station. We're now just north of the Hoboken Terminal along the Hudson River Promenade in downtown Hoboken. Hoboken is the birthplace of Frank Sinatra. Famous town. Hoboken is a Lenape Indian word. This town has had many names over the years, but it was finally settled on the name Hoboken, named after a section of Antwerp, Belgium, called Hoboken. The Lackawanna Station Tower in the background. You can see this is a lively place with entertainment on this glorious late winter day. Yes, late winter. It's not officially spring yet. People are really enjoying themselves today, and so am I. Stunning. I don't know what other adjective you can say. Thousands of them probably, but they're all good. Hoboken is loaded with shops and restaurants with some stunning views of the Manhattan skyline while you have your hamburger. Afternoons are best. The sun is in the west and it's shining right on this gem of the skyline. A lot of new buildings are cropping up, some of them not terribly attractive. It's in a skyscraper boom. And note the departure board here at Hoboken at 402. Note the lower single number track numbers. Those are all loaded with trains that have older power. They're all going to leave here in the next 30 odd minutes. And this is train 51 to Port Jervis out at 408. The 419 to Waldwick with a veterans unit. And departing 423 is train 1117 for Suffern. That's train 1319 for Ridgewood. Hackettstown out at 432. Train coming out of the yard with cab car 6000. We got another train backing in on track 7. He's got a Jeep. This is train 53 to Port Jervis. GP40 PH2 former CNJ. Got a chrome bell on them. It's going to go out on 57 at Port Jervis, I think. And 513, this is train 1221 to Warwick. The 4100 Jeeps are GP40 PH2s, original CNJ. The 4200s are GP40 PH2Bs. They've come from a host of railroads like Penn Central, Conrail, etc. And this is train 55 departing for Port Jervis at 5:15. This GP40 PH-2 4101 has a special bell on it. It's a bronze bell, like an old-fashioned General Motors locomotive. He's going to be leaving soon on train 57 for Port Jervis. doesn't think Hoboken Terminal is the greatest train station in the country, they're brain dead. Well, folks, I'm going to call it a night. These last few hours have been incredibly exciting. It's always a pleasure to go to the Hoboken Terminal Railroad Museum. And after a delicious dinner along the Hudson River, it's a pleasure to see this spectacular night view of Midtown Manhattan. It's been a great day here in Hoboken and a beautiful late winter day. You couldn't ask for a better day. Although I think tomorrow will be almost as warm.